I haven't been able to do as much recording of videos as I would have liked to recently. And by recently, I mean for about the last 5 years or so. And that's because of a bunch of personal things that have been going on. I've mentioned a bit here and there about how my wife left me and filed for divorce. I just got the final ruling in the mail, so it's officially done. It would be tempting to vent on this because I never wanted the divorce. But I'm not going to. I don't have much left in the emotional reserves, and it would serve no purpose anyway. Nothing good would come of it. But now that this is over, I do have a bit more, I guess, freedom. I mean, what could they do to me that's worse than what's already been done? So this video is simply about why I am full MGTOW now. And not because I hate women, or even one woman in particular. In fact, it would be a lot easier if I did hate her. No, I'm going MGTOW because, well, I'm not an idiot. So first, what is MGTOW? It's MGTOW, and it stands for Men Going Their Own Way. But knowing what it stands for isn't the same thing as knowing what it means. What it means is never being in a position where you have to depend on another person, where another person can take everything of value from you, where you have to do certain things or be a certain way to satisfy their requirements. No, it's about you being you. You are going your own way. It can be a bit isolationist, but the truth is, for men, you already are on your own. You can't trust women in your relationships. I trusted a woman who claimed that she would stay with me until death do we part. I now have to pay her money for the next 15 years, and I don't have any custody rights with my own daughter, nor frequent visitation since they live in a completely different state. And for what reason? What was that hashtag? Believe all women. Yes, I believed her. And how did that work out? The statistics are plain to anyone who wants to look. Roughly half of marriages end in divorce, and 2/3 of those are initiated by the woman. 2/3 of a half is 2/6, which is 1/3. So that means that every single man who decides to get married has a 1 in 3 chance that his wife is going to leave him, for whatever reason, whether with cause or without. And more than 80% of women get custody of the children. And even if a man does happen to win custody, he rarely ever gets awarded any child support in the process. This is the math. This is the reality of the world we live in. Marriage is a losing proposition for men. It's great for women, low risk and high reward for them. They can leave whenever they want, safe in the knowledge that their ex will be paying them money, whether for alimony or child support. Guys, you leave a marriage, you're still paying that child support and alimony. She leaves, you're paying. You leave, you're paying. You stay, you're paying, no matter what you're paying. And I'll be the first to admit that when I was first married, it was a good thing. It is better to be married in a good marriage than to be single. But the reality is the advantage isn't that much. And divorce is far, far worse than just being single is. Let me give you an analogy. Suppose I came up to you with a 3-sided die and I said, let's play a game. We'll roll the dice, and if it comes up as a 1 or a 2, then I'll pay you $1,000. But if it comes up as a 3, you have to pay me $1 million. Is there anyone foolish enough to take that bet? Yes, you have a 2 in 3 chance of gaining a small amount of money. But that 1 in 3 shot at being financially destroyed is too great of a risk to bet on such horrible odds. And that is what marriage is to men. You're risking half of your income, half of your savings, half of your value. For what benefit? That she will tell her friends how annoyed she is at you, nag you about taking the garbage out, force you to watch rom-coms that don't even interest you, while she ignores the things that you like because she doesn't get sports or war movies. That she can say your hat is ugly and your shirt is hideous and she'd rather not be seen in public with you just like that. That your money is her money and her money is her money. I mean, what exactly does a woman provide a man in a relationship these days? Is there anything other than sex? There are lots of things we are told that men have to do for the women in their lives. Does anyone ask, what does she have to do for men? Culturally, she is the queen. All women deserve all the things. And the guys, they're just servants. They work. Just look at the difference between Mother's Day advertisements and Father's Day advertisements. Mother's Day, you pamper your mom. You give her things. You take away the stress in her life. Father's Day? Get him a new tie that he can wear to the office where he works. And what about dating? What is a date? It's when a man gives a woman his time and money in the hope that she will like him enough to let him do it again. Not only that, society as a whole doesn't care about men. Just look at domestic violence. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, 1 in 4, that's 25% of men are abused by an intimate partner. Good news though, in 2017, the number of shelters in the US for male victims of abuse doubled all the way to 2. No one cares what happens to men, not other men, and certainly not the women who are benefiting from this legal arrangement that allows them to get away with abusing men. So yeah, that's the first thing you have to know about MGTOW. MGTOW understands that no one cares about men. That's why you have to do it on your own. That's why you have to go your own way. Because their way leads towards more callousness and more being chopped down again and again until you're drained of everything. When you realize that you are nothing but an ATM for them, the only way to win the game is not to play it. So MGTOW represents not just the most logical position a man can take, it also represents the only safe approach a man can take. Now look, I'm not a Sith, so I don't deal in absolutes. My dad actually just recently emailed about how after my mom passed away, he'd been fine with staying single. But as he points out, never say never. And God worked to bring him a new wife, my stepmom. And so I won't say that I will never remarry should God bring a unicorn into my world. But here's what I will say. There is a giant gulf that exists between men and women in our culture. A gulf built on the fact that if you just default to believe all women, you risk being destroyed. I know that not all women would do this, but the reality remains that legally, all women could. There is nothing in the law that would stop them from doing it, and our culture actively encourages women to behave far worse than even what I've had to go through. I mean, my ex didn't even ask for alimony. I will take home less than half of my paycheck after taxes and child support is removed. All of that would have been avoided altogether had I never made the worst choice of my life. So here's the ultimate end. I have no interest at all in approaching a woman for a relationship right now. Not because I don't like women or am not attracted to them, but because I can't risk what they can do to me if I trust them. It doesn't matter how nice she is or how loving or caring she is. It doesn't matter how good you are when you're in a system that allows you to do maximal evil on a whim with no consequences. MGTOW is a necessary movement now. If any man asks me, should I get married? The answer is a resounding no. Not in this culture. Not until marriage is removed from state control and returned strictly to the church as an institution. Marriage is the worst decision that I ever made, and it's plain from looking around that I'm not the only one who sees how bad of a deal it is for men. And men, if you don't realize how bad you have it, don't worry. Women do, and they use their knowledge. And you pay.